All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to No Final Bell episode 21. We're actually going to be airing this, or dropping this on the right time this time. But before we get into our normal business, kind of wanted to talk about some WWE news. As everybody knows, Lita is back, and she gives a twist of fate to Charlotte Flair, leading into the Women's Royal Rumble match, with high speculation that she just might win the Royal Rumble match and could face off at WrestleMania for one of the women's titles. Now, honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I would be totally fine with Lita coming back and winning one of the women's titles. But the only thing that I am opposed to is why WWE? Why do you have to keep on? See, the thing is, you wouldn't have to worry about bringing back legends if you kept on not firing like half of your freaking women's roster. You wonder why you have to split up almost every single women's tag team that there is, and very soon you're not even gonna have a women's tag division. You're just gonna get rid of those titles because budget cuts, and apparently Lita and Mickie James are two of your better options for the women's Royal Rumble. To me, honestly, maybe you just get rid of the women's Royal Rumble match. Like, it just kind of not a thing. It's not really relevant to the situation.
Not to mention, it doesn't really further anything, and almost
Not really.
almost everybody that has ever won the Women's Royal Rumble has failed, at least that I can think of, besides like Charlotte has
Because of
failed.
course.
Well,
Because of
yeah,
course.
but just in general, besides Charlotte, the only other Women's Rumble winners that I can think of that actually won the Rumble match were um, Charlotte and
Yeah.
Bianca Belair. Besides that, Becky won the Women's Rumble in 2019 and didn't win at Mania.
Right. I mean,
So, because obviously, well, actually no. Becky, like the the past three women's Rumble winners actually went on to win their WrestleMania matches. But other than that, Asuka is the only one, and the first women's Rumble winner that actually didn't win at WrestleMania.
yeah,
What was the point then of and literally her Rumble win was overshadowed by the debut of Ronda Rousey.
and the only reason why I say that I think that Lita could possibly actually win it is because there was a picture of her on social media. I don't know how real it is or not, but there was a picture of her standing right next to the Raw Women's Championship. So it really leads to high speculation that she could win the Women's Royal Rumble and face off against the Raw Women's Champion, who is Becky Lynch right now, to my knowledge. So, I mean, cool, but I would think that Trish Stratus going up against Becky Lynch would make a little bit more sense in effect. But sure, WWE, I mean, I guess you have really nothing better or nothing else really planned for the women's division than bringing back legends that are kind of well past their prime at this point. But sure, I mean, I guess Lita's got nothing better to do than come back
clearly
and
WWE has run out of options when they have the Impact Knockout World Champion Mickie James showing up for the Rumble.
yeah. So there's actually other news that is kind of big news in the sense that your current TNT champion is under contract in AEW, where he's going to show up on Dynamite later tonight. That's confirmed. Um, he is back from illness, and there's high speculation that, well, he'll drop the TNT Championship to Sami Gavarra and could end up being in the Royal Rumble match as he is currently a free agent. There's been no news of him re-signing with AEW. I don't know why you wouldn't want to re-sign to AEW when you are a EVP. I know there has been a lot of, things going with him and crowd this, crowd that. I hate to say it, you think you're getting booed now already in AEW? You're going to look like the bad guy even worse when you're in that Royal Rumble match if it is to happen. We don't know. This could very well just all be a planned thing for him being a free agent, which will eventually lead to him um, signing a contract, or he could just be in the Royal Rumble as a, well,
Surprise Forbidden Door.
surprise Forbidden Door, and then end up back in AEW, which I hate to say it, it's going to make him even worse of a man, and it's going to make him look like an even bigger asshole than him being under contract and still wrestling with AEW. So, um, I'm hoping that it's not going to lead into something where he wins the title, takes it to WWE, and then just kind of does the whole Medusa thing and just tosses it in the garbage and then just burns it. That would be the ultimate, like, you kind of saw this already type of thing.
That would be the ultimate insult to Brody Lee as well, because that's the championship that is synonymous with Brody Lee.
Yeah, so, honestly,
it would tarnish his legacy. And if Cody Rhodes were to do that, it would really, it would get heat for one,
right?
But it would also just make people instantly hate him.
Yeah, I mean, well, they already kind of hate him already, so I mean, it just add more.
It would make people hate him even more.
I mean, as much as Cody doesn't want to be that heel, he's kind of showing a lot of heelish aspects to him, and this is kind of one of them. Again, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I don't even know if this is all true about him being a free agent or not. I would think that it is.
It's certainly getting the wrestling world talking, though.
It really is, and there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of, things flying in the air. I guess everybody that watches this show, be on the watch out. I mean, you never know. Cody Rhodes could end up being back in WWE, which I don't think is the best move for him, but who are we to say anything? I mean, he's Cody effing Rhodes, and he's going to do whatever the hell he wants. So, again, bring it on to Marty.
So, this week we actually have Impact news, but we're also adding NWA news, as they have just recently started airing replays of their TV tapings for NWA Power on YouTube. They are still on Fight TV on Tuesdays, but now, thanks to the power of William Patrick Corgan, the president, the NWA is now on Fridays at 6:05 for Power, but they also have a new series on YouTube as well, which is NWA USA, which is on Saturdays at 12 Eastern on YouTube. But we are going to talk about NWA Power. So, first of all, we get into Impact. W. Morrissey is not happy that he lost at Hard to Kill. He is looking for Moose, and he wants a one-on-one Impact World Championship match. But then we get to commentary. Commentary is starting to go over the card, and Matt Taven interrupts D'Lo Brown and Tom Hannafin, and then he runs down, and more Ring of Honor guys. The ROH Invasion beat up D'Lo Brown and put him to a table while Matt Taven is on commentary. So the Kingdom of Matt Taven and Mike Bennett are there, as well as PCO and Vincent. And PCO is the one that put D'Lo Brown through a table, while the rest of them, Vincent and the OGK, Mike Bennett, beat down D'Lo Brown. And hopefully D'Lo Brown will be back at the commentary desk, maybe later on throughout those tapings, but maybe not. I'm not too sure what's going to happen with that. But next we get to Laredo Kid and Chris Bay in the ring. Laredo Kid beats Chris Bay. And now we cut to everybody is starting to get upset with the ROH invasion, especially Eddie Edwards, Heath, Rhino, Willie Mack, and Rich Swann, because they are the ones that had the brunt of the beatdown from Hard to Kill, and they want revenge. Next, we go to more in-ring action with Speedball Mike Bailey beating Jake something. And then we have a backstage. Heath and Rhino were assaulted backstage before, next thing you know, the Good Brothers and VVD beat them down. So, next up we get to in-ring action where, well, before then we get to a backstage segment with Chelsea Green and Tasha Steelz where they start having a war of words, and it will lead to a match next week. Next up, we have more in-ring action. Masha Slamovich beats Bert Vixen. If you guys remember Bert Vixen, she's been on a few... If you watch AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, she's been on a few of those programs. So, then we cut to an in-ring promo with Josh Alexander. He is tired of waiting. He wants an opportunity to compete against Moose. And he is tired of the obstacles that are thrown in his way. But who comes down to challenge Josh Alexander but Charlie Haas himself? That's right, Charlie Haas, formerly of the world's greatest tag team. Charlie Haas wants to face Josh Alexander, and they brawl in the middle of the ring. And by the way, they will face off this week on Impact. Then we cut to backstage before her big unification winner-take-all match against Deonna Purrazzo. Roxy is backstage with Mickie James, and Mickie James is praising Roxy for her amazing run as the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, but she warns her about how dangerous Deonna Purrazzo is. And we will get to the main event in a little bit, but we cut to more in-ring action. We find out that Moose is going to be defending the Impact World Championship in this episode, but who's his challenger? We don't know yet. But before the match, it is revealed that Vicky Dice is the one who is challenging Moose for the Impact World Championship, and as we all probably would have expected, Moose squashes Vicky Dice for the Impact World title, but W. Morrissey has had enough of Moose hiding. They end up brawling in the ring, and it leads to just... That's really what happened. They just brawled, and what it's going to lead to, I'm not too sure. Hopefully, it leads to a one-on-one Impact World title match between Morrissey and Moose, but we'll see what happens. Jonah beats Raj Singh. Then we go backstage, and Eddie Edwards gets assaulted. So the ROH invasion is making their way around the Impact locker room. They are staking claim to Impact Wrestling. They are making their mark. They want to prove that they are the big dogs around here. We have some matches next week announced. Jonathan Gresham will put his Ring of Honor World Championship on the line against Steve Macklin. And obviously, with Jonathan Gresham's Ring of Honor World Title defenses, it will be contested under pure wrestling rules. So, limited rope breaks, no closed fists, all that. Also next week, Doc Gallows and Joe Doring will battle Heath and Rhino. And then we get to the main event. Winner take all. Deonna Purrazzo's Reina de Reinas Championship on the line for Roxy's Ring of Honor World Women's title on the line. And this was a very tooth and nail match. There were some moments where Roxy could have had the advantage. She could have had the momentum. She could have had the win. But unfortunately, we have a new Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and it is Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna Purrazzo beat Roxy for the ROH Women's World title, and Maria Kanellis Bennett was looking down at Deonna Purrazzo. She just wanted to congratulate the women's champion, but also let her know that, hey, you have something that's ours. And when I say ours, the whole ROH invasion comes down. Matthew Raywalt, who was on commentary, comes down to the ring. The ROH invasion beats him down, as well as Rich Swann and Willie Mack, who come to the save, but the numbers game, it just came back to bite Rich Swann and Willie Mack in the ass. They get beaten down by that ROH invasion. So that's Impact Wrestling for this week. Now we get on to NWA Power. Now, this is also Season 7, Episode 3. Season 7, Episode 4 is already out by now, but I do not have those results. I will be covering those next week regardless. We start the night for NWA Power with a junior heavyweight title qualifier, but consisting of 4 men: Jamie Stanley, Alex Taylor, Miguel Robles, and Jeremiah Plunkett, which the winner of that match is Jamie Stanley. Him and Sam Adonis. Sam Adonis, you probably remember from the Impact talk from a few months ago, but he advances in the junior heavyweight title qualifier. Next up, we have a handicap match, as Austin Idol has made a deal with Scion, and we learned that you should never make a deal with Austin Idol, and Scion learned that the hard way, as Marshy Rocket and Jordan Clearwater beat him in a handicap match. Scion said he'll take on anybody. He'll take on a challenge. Well, Austin Idol laid out the challenge. He brought out Marshy Rocket and Jordan Clearwater, and it came back to bite Scion in the ass. But Austin Idol and Tyrus, the television champion, they do admire Scion's grit and determination. Scion is not backing down from getting another opportunity at the television title. Next up, we have women's tag team action. Kylie Ray and Tootie Lynn, Smiley Kylie, beat Camille and Missa Kate. Then we cut to some OGK stuff. So OGK has been very busy as of late, and not just Impact, but also NWA, as we have Matt Taven beating Wrecking Ball Legursky of the tag team tandem with Colby Carino. Next, we cut to a promo with Matt Cardona and Big Mike Knox. Matt Cardona is in NWA because he wants to save the NWA. And as a matter of fact, he wants to rename the NWA to the MCWA for the Matt Cardona Wrestling Alliance. Next up, we have in-ring action. Natalia Markova beats Paula Blaze. So we have some women's action. Women are being built up in the NWA now. Possibly seeing Natalia Markova work her way up the women's title rankings, get a shot at Camille, but we'll see. Then we have trios action to round out the night. La Rebellion and Homicide beat The End and Jack Stain. So La Rebellion, I believe, are the tag team champions right now. And with the tag team of with teaming up with Homicide, it gives them even more momentum. That's all the NWA talk and Impact talk. Now we're going to bring it over to Jason for AEW talk.
Yes, what a very interesting AEW Dynamite Rampage it was for this past week. As we start off with Adam Cole and Red Dragon coming out. Well, oh, and also the Young Bucks, but things got a little testy between the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, where Young Bucks say, well, we want the tag team titles, we'll go through anybody. Red Dragon says, well, we want the tag team titles, and there's no tag team that can stand in their way for the tag team titles, and that includes the Young Bucks. Man, you just love the friendly tension there between the Red Dragon and the Young Bucks.
Adam Cole wants some friendly competition, and I think Adam Cole speaks for the rest of us. Everybody wants a friendly competition between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks.
Yeah, I want to see that tag team too, and honestly, I think we're going to get it eventually. That Red Dragon and maybe the Young Bucks face off in a number one contenders match or something like that. That's what I can see. But going forward with the Elite and also the best friends in the Elite beat each other down to get ready for their faction versus faction match in the future. Man, I am just ready for it. Every single week, every single show, they are just beating each other down. When is the match happening? I just need to know. They're definitely building towards a Revolution style, kind of match. Now the thing is, where is that fifth member for the best friends? Who is Rocky Romero? Is he? Because I have not seen him the last few weeks.
More than likely, he got sent back to Japan and is starting to run the LA dojo. But
I just want to know if they are going to sub out somebody for
Okada.
I mean,
Chaos.
I don't know.
The Chaos Tangent.
I guess we'll find out.
Somebody.
We'll find out soon. Why not bring in Okada?
Open that forbidden door with New Japan.
Hopefully it could be something, because I've been liking this whole beatdown between faction and faction. It's something that we've been needing, honestly. But man,
or heck, maybe you can get the Stone Pitbull again, Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Going into the first match of the night, CM Punk beats Wardlow even after a sympathy of power bombs. I don't think I have to go too much into that. Even though Wardlow is been teasing big time that he wants away from MJF and Shawn Spears, as MJF is like, hey Wardlow.
He was basically doing that to Wardlow, and Wardlow just took him, and he's like, don't do that anymore. And MJF like, hold on now, wait a minute. So
Wardlow very soon is probably
going to is tired of the games that MJF
turn on.
Playing.
Yeah, he's going to be turning on probably MJF and Shawn Spears very soon. I just don't know when it's going to be. CM Punk, that whole entire match got beaten down and then just ends up beating Wardlow with a roll-up pin. And it just didn't look good on CM Punk. I can see.
Yeah.
I kind of happen to agree with MJF. MJF is really pretty much making CM Punk look relevant at this point. So a lot of what he says is very truthful.
The thing about that match is it made CM Punk look weak, getting beaten down by Wardlow the entire match.
Yeah.
And then just winning with the most devastating move in sports entertainment history, the surprise roll-up.
I know it. As much as fans probably don't want to hear this, CM Punk is just not as good as he once was at all. And I just think that he's not somebody that we should see every single week on AEW television or wrestle in that sense. It's just he's lost that spark. He's lost that momentum. I get it. He's been away from the game for over 7 years.
That's the thing, too, though, is the fact that, like, yeah, okay, he was, I thought the entire time that he was just going to be brought in as this special attraction thing, kind of like a Brock Lesnar in WWE. He would get paid per appearance, and he would only wrestle like a handful of matches per year.
Yeah.
But obviously, that has changed now in the year 2022 because he's on Dynamite like almost every single week now.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where fans are getting at. They're kind of, it gets a little annoying to see CM Punk every single week. Like, I understand that's probably what he wants. He wants to be utilized, to the best of his abilities, and he wants to be seen a lot because, fans haven't seen him in such a long time. But it's kind of getting a little dull and a little old very quickly. It's almost like I don't want to see CM Punk anymore because I see him every single time. Yeah, so it's always great to see CM Punk there going out with cool personality and having fans go crazy and say it's clobbering time. But if you're just gonna look really winded in every single match that you go in, are you really somebody that should still stay on the AEW roster? I don't know. I don't think so. I just think that, every once in a while, like Sting would be probably beneficial for him a lot more than wrestling every single week. But going forward, Dante Martin beats Will Hobbs with the help of a unlikely source, by the help of Jay Lethal himself. What does that mean? I think what that means is Jay Lethal might just mentor Dante Martin in a special way. And who better than Jay Lethal, who's got 20 plus years of experience. So if there's anybody that you want to get mentored by, it's somebody that has a lot of wrestling experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So honestly, Dante Martin is a very young and upcoming star. Who better to be with than Jay Lethal? Which is kind of weird because it showed a graphic of Dante Martin and then also showed Leo Rush still with him, but Leo Rush was nowhere to be found when Dante Martin was coming out. So I kind of thought that it was interesting that to see the AEW put that out there that, oh, here's Dante Martin, but here's a graphic of Leo Rush right next to him, and then Leo Rush doesn't even come out with him at all. Like, it's why do that? I mean, that's
something tells me after the whole like fiasco with Tony Khan and his Twitter thing with the like racial inequality thing that Leo Rush has opted out of his contract and is now starting to wrestle for New Japan because I seen recently on his Twitter that he is wrestling for New Japan at their like strong stuff. So that was short lived for Leo Rush and AEW then, if that's the case.
yeah. I mean, I don't want to go into full details about it, but I think that's just.
I'm just, yeah.
I don't know. It's I don't know. I'm not gonna go into full details about that, but yes, Jay Lethal is there, and I think that he's gonna be Dante Martin's new partner, if not person that helps mentor him into becoming an ascending star. Which who better? But again, we'll talk a little bit more about Jay Lethal moving forward into the show. But man, there is some tensions flying between these two men. Eddie Kingston, well, Chris Jericho in the Inner Circle talk about, how they are the best faction of the year and how they're back in 2022. And if there's any person that you shouldn't be interrupting because you just don't know what will happen, it's Chris Jericho. So Eddie Kingston apparently has a death sentence on him to interrupt Chris Jericho, which will probably lead to a future match between each other. What do you think? Do you think this is going to lead into a future
I think
match
it's going to lead to something, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Eddie Kingston, the way that Eddie Kingston, like, sets up feuds is unique, to say the least. but I kind of like the way that he goes about his business and even just the way he conducts himself. Like, yeah, it may not be the most ideal way, but the thing about Eddie Kingston is like, as opposed to like any other wrestler or whatever, he brings a level of realism
Yeah.
to the sport, which is something I feel like not a lot of people do. And it's like, besides like maybe Samoa Joe,
Right.
there's really nobody that I can think of besides Eddie Kingston and Joe that really bring a level of like realism to the sport of professional wrestling.
Well, the one thing is that they were going to be alongside the match between Sami Guevara and Daniel Garcia for the interim TNT Championship. Um, Chris Jericho says to Eddie Kingston, if they come out and try to beat down on my guys, I'm gonna beat 2.0 down. But if you get in my way, I might just have to kick your ass. And Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho vowed that they would. Well, they came close a little bit in that match, but of course we'll talk about it a little bit more. But still, some tensions flying, and honestly, I'm all for a Eddie Kingston Chris Jericho match in the near future. I think it would be a really good match. Something that both men probably would need. More so Eddie Kingston than Chris Jericho, but again, um, well, NJF comes off, says, this is all bull crap. That CM Punk beat Wardlow. You want a match?
You guys want the match? You want to see it? Okay. Next week, CM Punk will face Sean
Spears. But I will say, is Sean Spears really that last guy to go up against before MGF? I don't think so. There's still the other members of Pinnacle. He's gonna throw CM Punk anybody, kind of like he did with Chris Jericho before he faces off against them. So it's very intriguing to see who is next that MJF throws at CM Punk before the match does happen.
Who knows? We might get Nick Gage back in AEW.
I doubt it, but I think it's gonna, like I said, I think it's gonna be all the Pinnacle members, honestly. Like, we already got Wardlow, he lost. We're gonna have Sean Spears, he's probably gonna lose, and then we're gonna probably have FTR.
I was just about to say that they'll probably have CM Punk go up against like both members for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I think eventually it's going to lead into MJF
maybe it's
versus CM
wishful
Punk.
thinking on my part, but I kind of want to see MDK all fucking day back in AEW.
We'll see. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks. But talk about something that is very interesting to see. Adam Cole and Britt Baker are going to be in a mixed tag team match against Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander. Thoughts? I mean,
Bebe and his Bebe are the power couple of AEW. They clearly prove
yeah,
that.
now Britt Baker is joined up with the Elite and Adam Cole and kind of left her cohorts to the wayside. It's kind of interesting about that. I kind of want to see if this is going to lead into some tensions with Rebel and Jamie Hayter.
Well, Jamie Hayter already has
with
tension.
Britt Baker, because now that you just like throw them to the wayside, I'm gonna join up with my boyfriend now. And then I hope like if she like was to like go back to them, and then they're like, how come you threw us to the wayside? And it's like join up with your boyfriend. I think it's gonna lead into some tensions there, and I guess it's a weird way for that to all lead to what could happen. But honestly, I guess that's one way to lead into a future match between Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. So it's something. So again, we bring up the best sign of the week, and honestly, the best sign I found was this interesting one: cowboy shit and beer. But it was the
poop
cowboy,
emoji.
the poop emoji with the Dark Order logo in it. in the beer. Well, I hate to say it, you can, as much as you want to head that sign, he hasn't drank one single beer since he's came back from having a baby boy. So I don't think the cowboy is really the beer drinker anymore. I think that sale has shipped a long time ago. He's all about cowboy shit, and he's being dead serious now.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. He's not the beer drinker that he used to be, and even then, I can respect that
as
because
weird
now
as
he's
it
got that
as
kid.
as weird as it is, yes, he has not want drink. If you look back since he's come back, he has not drank one single beer since he's been back.
Yeah.
So, but again with Adam Hangman Page, he says, "Well, I need a new opponent, and who better than a returning Lance Archer
Everybody dies. Everybody
from
dies.
that botched moment that he had and been out ever since,
Where he
comes back
under-rotated on that moonsault.
and grew out the hair a little bit.
Yeah.
Grew out the hair a little bit,
Yep.
and now, do we think Lance Archer is the next opponent for Adam Hangman Page's AEW World Title?
I think so.
I kind of think so because he came out there, beat down Adam Hangman Page, and then walked out. Now the question is, I don't know if Jake the Snake Roberts is going to be back with.
Unfortunately, I don't think so. I haven't heard a lot about Jake the Snake.
That's all right. But honestly, I guess I'm all for Lance Archer getting the opportunity. I hate to say it, I don't think he's going to win against Adam Hangman Page because, but AEW, you kind of bring him back and you already give him that title shot. So I guess you had nobody else really to go after him. But
Well, I think the whole plan in general was to have Lance Archer win that world title eliminator match against Eddie Kingston anyways, but because of the fact that
that's probably what it was. I mean, he was probably going to win and try to go after the title eventually. So I guess it all made sense when he came back to kind of get into that picture. But it's somebody different in the mind of going after Adam Hangman Page for right now until Adam Cole is done with that whole faction thing where it could lead to him possibly going after Adam Hangman Page for the AEW World Title, which it's not out of the question to happen eventually. But moving forward, FTR to face off against Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson. Our thoughts on that? That's interesting.
yeah, I mean FTR has a big you know, FTR already has like a big week ahead of them anyways. I'm pretty sure it already happened of them facing the Rock and Roll Express, but regardless, I mean FTR is making their way to be, being a top tag team just in general.
Right.
Not even of AEW. Like we already know they're the best tag team in AEW, but right now they're trying to prove they're the best tag team in the world, like just currently. So they're definitely up there though for being a all-time great tag team.
Right. I mean,
Definitely in the top 5.
they damn near won every single title that's out there for them to grab. So,
Although they have yet to claim the Ring of Honor tag team titles,
very well could happen eventually.
or the GCW tag team titles for that matter. Briscoes hold both.
So, you know, Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson, I hate to say it, but I just don't think that you're going to beat FTR in a sense. FTR is just way too good of a tag team, and it sucks to see Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson, the young guys, lose to these veterans, but in the end of the day, that's exactly what's going to happen. Serena D beats Hikaru Shida by referee stoppage, but Deeb keeps attacking her after the match, where more refs had to stop her. Will there be repercussions for her actions? I think so. Um, but man, definitely shows you that Serena Deeb ain't messing around. She is one
Absolutely.
badass bitch, and she is going to
She's the professor.
take out anybody she can in her way to try to become the best women's wrestler of AEW. And if,
She's the professor for a reason.
yeah, um, I think it's going to lead into suspension by AEW and Tony Khan, but again, when she does come back, who knows who she could go after? She could go after Britt Baker. She could go after Jay Cargill for the TBS championship. But I really do think that Serena Deeb is in line for a championship of some caliber, and it's only time will tell when that's going to happen. Um, Jurassic Express want any, and I mean any top 5 tag team to try and keep their titles. Um, man, I don't know if that's cocky or arrogant, but I'm all for them to put their titles on the line against all the top 5 tag teams of right now, because that means that they still have something to prove, even though they are the tag team champions.
Yeah, absolutely. They want more, they want the biggest and the best competitors in the tag team division, and who can blame them?
And they're all, they're getting mentored by Christian Cage, and who better than a tag team specialist in himself? Penta El Zero Miedo beats Matt Hardy in his own background. I honestly didn't even see that coming, but good for Penta El Zero Miedo. It just sucks that his brother keeps on getting hurt. Honestly, I think what AEW should do is pull the gun and push Penta as a singles competitor. He's done it before, so why not again? Man, what a debut, everybody. I knew it was coming. It was only a matter of time. But Malachi Black has a new member
Yes,
of the House of Black.
Big bad Brody King from Ring of Honor. The Kings of the Black Throne are in AEW now. The current PWG Tag Team Champions.
And this is confirmed for later tonight. Brody King and Malachi Black will face off against the Varsity Blondes, as I already told you on this show that it was going to happen, and now it is. The tag team match that was very highly anticipated is going to happen later tonight on Dynamite. Now, there seems to be even more tension between Chris Statlander and Layla Hirsch. Yeah. I mean, it's going to lead into a match eventually. As far as when it's going to happen, I think sooner than later. It's going to happen between Chris Statlander and Layla Hirsch. It's one of the kind of hotter rivalries of right now within the women's division, so I'm all for that. Not much more I can really say about this. When they claim beat Bear Country, they're building the Acclaim back up. And honestly, I would love to see the Acclaimed, who are I think a top 5 tag team, go after the tag team titles.
I think you're right. I think they are a top 5 tag team. And yeah.
And speaking of the Acclaim, they get beaten down by Sting and Darby after their tag team match, which we will talk about towards the end of this. Actually, you know what? I'll talk about it now. They actually made a diss track to Sting and Darby, which I found
it hilarious.
Hilarious, yes.
There was some bars thrown, but there were some bars being spit by Platinum Max Caster there.
And something tells me that this kind of match is going to have a kind of like a taped kind of match feel, where it's going to be like in like a warehouse or something like that, because
like a cinematic match.
A cinematic match. I think that's what it's going to be for this kind of match between the Acclaimed and Sting and Darby, and I'm all for it.
It'd be kind of like Team Taz.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm all for that. What I find interesting is what's coming up next. Matt Hardy and Andrade seem to have a deal coming up soon, and what could it be?
I don't know.
Big Money Matt making big old moves.
Big Money Matt making big money deals.
So something's coming up with Matt Hardy and Andrade, and he seems to not want to have to do the the Hardy family office anymore. And thank you, finally, freaking Lee. Can we actually get rid of that? It looks like he wants to push Private Party to the wayside and do his own thing. He says it's time to do my own thing and think about myself than think about the Hardy family office.
I'm glad.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. You haven't been doing anything. None of everybody else that's been around you have been doing anything. Just push it to the wayside. Matt Hardy. Ooh. What if it's a deal to get his brother into AEW?
Could be possible.
I'm thinking
They've already been announced for an indie show.
I think the Hardys are going to be coming, and Andrade is going to be the one that's going to help the Hardys make that deal. And honestly, I'm all for that, because Private Party kind of needs to do their own thing anyway. Again. Yeah. But we'll have to see what happens with that whole deal coming up soon.
That's my thing, too. If you're going to bring in the Hardys to AEW, make them broken.
Yeah, of course. I honestly...
delete their opposition.
I think that's what they're going to do. I think you're going to see Brother Nero and Broken Matt Hardy in AEW. Sooner than later.
I knew you'd come.
So going forward, Sami Gavarra beats Daniel Garcia in the main event of Dynamite to retain the interim TNT Championship. But still some tensions flying between Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho as 2.0 do get involved in some way, with beatdowns and the outside. It's crazy when Eddie Kingston and Chris Jericho are doing that. But what I did find a little interesting is that Eddie Kingston was by Daniel Garcia's corner, and Chris Jericho was by Sami Guevara's corner. I don't know if anybody noticed that. That's kind of showing that Eddie Kingston is kind of leaning towards that heel side.
Going back to being a heel.
I don't know why he was by Daniel Garcia whatsoever, but if anybody was watching Dynamite and watched that main event, definitely watch closely, as that's exactly what happened. Chris Jericho in the Inner Circle was by Sami Guevara. Or actually, no, Chris Jericho was by Sami Guevara, and Eddie Kingston was around Daniel Garcia's corner, which I found a little interesting when you've had nothing but beef with Daniel Garcia and 2.0. So, going forward to the Rampage side of things, Adam Cole beats Trent Beretta. I mean, in a very highly anticipated, a lot of neck and back and shoulder bumps in that match, but tell you what, I'm ready for that faction versus faction. They've been building up so much week in and week out that honestly, when that match happens, it's going to be 5-star caliber, I think.
Absolutely.
I really do think so. Going forward, Shawn Spears beats Andrew Everett in a match that we really had to talk about it that much. I mean, he kind of just buries Andrew Everett.
He buried the giant.
Yeah. Going forward, Nyla Rose, the Bunny, and Penelope Ford beats Chris Statlander, Layla Hirsch, and Red Velvet, as Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander still have some, they still don't like each other very much, and it's still going to lead into Chris Statlander and Layla Hirsch wrestling against each other. I just feel bad that Red Velvet has been getting in the middle of it. I hope it's going to eventually be like, look, if you guys can't get it together, then I'm not going to help you anymore. I hope it leads into that. I hope she's either going to bring them back together as that, trio, or say, hey, I'm not going to be in the middle of this, but if you guys want to, go up against each other, go up against each other type of thing. I'm done with it. But going forward, Scorpio Sky says he is the face of TNT. Um, you know, I I feel bad for Scorpio Sky. He's only won one championship in his lifetime, but look what he's done. Anytime he has gone after other titles like the AEW woman, the world title, he came so close to winning it. Same thing with the TNT title. He's come up pretty close to winning it. I'm all for Scorpio Sky being the TNT champion. He's nothing but earned every opportunity that has been thrown his way. When he was with SCU, that was the best highlights of his career there in AEW. I just don't like that he's teamed up with Ethan Page and Dan Lambert with American Top Team. But honestly, Scorpio Sky, I think he definitely does deserve a title shot after going after
Yeah,
Sammy Guevara or Cody Rhodes or whoever it is. But I'm all for it. But just know that it's probably not going to lead to a win, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens. But again, I'm hoping that maybe that's what could happen. Speaking of Jay Lethal, like we were saying, he comes out while Ricky Starks is talking his crap as always. He wants to face Ricky Starks for the FTW title, even though it's not a recognized AEW championship. Our thoughts?
I would like to see Jay Lethal be a champion in AEW, whether it be for the FTW title or like even granted he was brought into the company by facing Sammy Guevara for the
Yeah,
TNT Championship. So I mean,
I'm all for it.
regardless, I want to see Jay Lethal be a champion in AEW.
Yeah, I honestly think that Jay Lethal can
He's
beat
a
Ricky
former Ring of Honor
Starks.
World Champion for
Yeah,
God's sake.
exactly. I hope that, AW can utilize Jay Lethal to the best of his abilities, and I honestly giving him Ricky Starks is kind of really start off. It's not really the best, but something to kind of build him up. I hope that there's plans for Jay Lethal, even though we really haven't seen him much until now. But again, when you have so much talent on that roster, it's kind of hard to utilize it all. But I'm all for it. I think that he will win the FTW title. It would be a big slap in the face to Team Taz. So yeah, I'm all for it. And then going forward, Dark Order is the first tag team of the top 5 caliber to face off against Jurassic Express, but unfortunately they fall short as they get beaten by Jurassic Express, who end up retaining their tag titles. So it's a very good question to see who is next in line for the Jurassic Express's World Tag Team titles. But honestly, everybody, that is it for No Final Bell. Make sure to follow us on social media at Tinkle Sports. Make sure to watch our channel. It's Tinkle Sports Entertainment. Um, Make sure to watch Sports Talk every Sunday at 9 a.m. And also starting February 1st, Out of Turn 4 makes its return. Um, as on Sports Talk, we are talking about the NBA and any kind of sports, mostly the NFL playoffs. But again, until then, everybody, see you in the next one.